Hey y'all, welcome finally to the Russie J Mercantile Craft Room Tour. This is where all of my business crafty ideas come into fruition. I am very fortunate to have my own space where I can decorate and have it as my own, and no one tells me what I can't do. And I'm so happy to share with you guys all my thrifted upcycle creations, my organization, what I do to keep things tidy and orderly. And I'm so happy to finally share this with you guys in a full video. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have a hashtag. It's called hashtag crafty cutie corner. So some of you have already probably seen most of this space to begin with, but here is an in-depth, more thorough walkthrough of the whole space in its entirety. And yeah, so let's get this thing started. If you look in this corner, this is a window that I found on a walk. I turned it into some storage. It was already painted this aqua color, and I just added the pegboard to the back of it. And then I added a thread rack and put all my thread. I hang my rulers. This heart was a very precious gift from my friend Lynn for Valentine's Day, and I keep it up all year long. I'm so proud of it. I have lights, vintage lights strung up from a sale. I found those in Detroit. If you look on this side, I have some coloring pages from my friend Jenny Mae June's Instagram that she graciously gave to all her followers. I have some tassels hung up, some goodies from other sellers. This one's from Kitty Witty Papercraft. I love this. I love her page. And then further along, I have my sewing machine. And I have some of my things that I grab for every day. I have storage in these nursery planners. I love using these for storage. They're so cheery to me. I just love them. The shelf has some buttons and paper clips. This shelf right here was an old Army footlocker. It has all my paint on it. I pulled it out of a dumpster so long ago, and I'd always had in mind that I would use it for a shelf. I painted it yellow. I added some additional wood in the middle to make it a duplex kind of shelf. And then I added wallpaper to the back. I'm really proud of this one. It's my favorite upcycle. Up here I have some of my favorite finds, some of my goodies. This house journal is from Jenny Mae June. I'm in love with it. This one is from Bianca from House of Warriors. She is one of my fave people. She made that for me. I have a button card from Paris when I visited last year. Some goodies from estate sales. This beautiful seashell thing with Tinkerbell is from Lila Sparkles. I absolutely love that. I love Tinkerbell. Here's some embroidery hoops that I use for additional storage. I use it kind of like a pegboard. I have some of my favorite pictures hung up right now. Some reminders for things. Here is my giant pegboard. I upcycled this pegboard. No, not really. Okay, so I got the pegboard itself from Home Depot, and then the trim was from the Home Depot salvage for 75% off. So I just turned that into a giant pegboard. I have all of my tools. These spice racks are from IKEA. I painted those pink. I use Pyrex teacups for additional storage. They just hang off the side. Very cool. I love that. In the back, I keep my buttons in this little container thing from Michael's. This shelf was from an estate sale. I love this shelf. I just kept it the same steel patina. The background, like the shape, is just so cool. I keep all my bits and bobs here. my word of the year that I had to reevaluate. I keep doilies hung up for decoration on my magnetic board. And my printer. This bottom thing that my printer sits on is a needle notions holder. I keep all of my journal clips that I've recently made in there. And the bottom is plastic flowers. I love those things. I can never get enough of those. I have this board that I made into my business sign. I found this cabinet door at a salvage yard in Detroit, and I just painted the letters and got the mercantile sign from Michael's and spray painted it. It was black and white. I have my favorite wine bottle, a kitty cat with a wand, my favorite oil lamp, a piñata unicorn. And yeah, I have my computer here. This is pretty much the setup for the mercantile. Everything gets done in this corner. This was a very awesome gift from my friend Lynn. She recycled this jewelry box with vintage sheets. I keep all my embossing folders in here. She made that for me. I'm in love with it. I have this vintage ashtray with some dried lavender and my favorite candle. I keep all my other cutting dies and things in these folders, my cutting boards and everything. Down here is where I keep all my vintage sewing notions. I have so many that it takes a whole IKEA bookshelf to hold them. Back there's some more notions. Here's some more notions. Sewing box. Back there's fabric scraps. Here are some books that I want to work on, and this bag in the back is things that I collected while on my trip to Paris and Germany last year that I want to junk journal soon. I also keep my sewing machine foot here. And I keep paper towels under my desk. Under here, oh my gosh, I don't think I should bring this out, but I think this has die cuts in it, organized. Here's a drawer system I got off Marketplace. I keep wallpaper, paper bags, clothespins, and plastic bags. Down here, I keep my vintage games that I like to use for crafting. This suitcase is vintage and it holds all my Martha Stewart border punches. This thing has some scraps that I like to use for paper crafting. Here I have some fabric and scrap ribbon that I like to use first. This side holds a container that has paper goods in it, like vintage magazines and stuff I like to upcycle. My trash can, and then all of my paper scraps is in this big huge container. So many paper scraps. And then this moves back or forward however I like whenever I'm sitting here at my computer. So here is the area I keep my newer paper crafting materials, things I haven't opened yet. I've got a lot of Maggie Holmes and Paige Taylor Evans that is nicely displayed. I hate to open the packs, but I know I need to use them. I've got my bulletin board with all my memories and stuff I like to keep a hold of. I've got a Lazy Susan right here that spins around, and it's got apothecary jars on top full to the brim of different things like beads and felt balls and straws. Over here I have rolled up paper, wallpaper, and straws. And this pink shelf right here was actually a doll case that I took apart. I've had it for years and I hoarded it, and finally I thought, well, this would make an awesome shelf. So I've got a few things on here. I've got my Sam and Dean little mini things and a wax van thing from 3 Man Records in Detroit. I framed this paper bag that I got at the Banksy Museum in Amsterdam. And I just really loved the sentiment they had on the bags from the gift shop. And so I just used a thrifted frame and put that in there to keep, to remind me of that trip and to remind me, in art we trust, a very Banksy sentiment. Up here is a shelf that I keep a lot of my nicer things, my breakable things. I keep those up there. Down here is where I keep my vintage sheet collection, and it's actually 2 rows deep. I have a lot of sheets, and this isn't even half of them. Some of them haven't even been washed and ready to be bolted. I just used regular cardboard bolts, and I need to get some more cut. That's why I haven't added the rest of my collection. They are categorized in rainbow form, as you can tell. And down here is my feed sack collection. I honestly would have a whole shelf unit to itself of feed sacks if I had more, but they're so hard to find sometimes. The shelf is from Better Homes and Gardens. It's a Calyx knockoff. So that was a nice find from the Goodwill, actually. I think I paid like $25 for it, brand new. Down here, I have baskets with vintage linens in them. I have a whole cabinet dedicated to vintage linens. Here are my rainbow doilies, which I'm in love with. And the other one is just white doilies. This is just a shelf where I keep my alcohol pens and coloring things and just odds and ends to get out of the way for my desk. Here is a recent Facebook Marketplace find. I found this paper system storage rack thing. I'd been looking for such a long time on Marketplace, and they're just so expensive. But this one I found, and I cut it in half, and then I spray painted it coral. The top is like my favorite line of paper, October Afternoon, and it's like my top shelf liquor. And then it goes down from Maggie Holmes, Paige Taylor Evans, just all my designer papers, then single sheet papers by color, and sentiments. And then on this side, holiday is on top, and then I have rainbowed my cardstock collection. So that was a nice find recently. That is my closet. Is a total mess right now, so I'll have to do a separate tour of that. It holds all of our holiday stuff and everything, but from this side over, it's kind of prettier. I have my vintage linen pillowcases hung up, and then I have this drawer or this shelf system that I found in the garbage and painted yellow. My neighbors were throwing it out. It was over the bathroom vanity thing, and I just cleaned it up really good and painted it, and it holds all my fabric, extra fabric. And then this dresser, my friends were actually going to put in their burn pit, and I begged them to let me keep it. And then I just painted the drawers different colors and painted the outside cream and white. So that one holds all of my vintage Chanel. I thought maybe I didn't have as much, but apparently I do. I like to collect pinwheels. Some are vintage, some are not. Some are from Martha Stewart. And here's my giant hutch, one of them. I'm very proud of this. The top portion was a $20 find for 2 of them on Marketplace. I actually found this lady. She lives in near downtown Detroit, and she had a 1920 style Tudor home that she was remodeling, and she happily gave me these beautiful built-ins that she said were original to the house from 1920s. I got the bottom portion for free on Marketplace, like literally a week later. I could not be more proud of that. Amazing find. I keep this kind of styled like a storefront. I'm the kind of person that has to see what I have in order to use it. So if I don't see it, then I don't use it. And this might not be the style that some people are a fan of. It kind of might make them have OCD, or they might think I'm a hoarder, but this is my system and it works pretty well for me. Up at the top, I have some things that my friends have made me. This pink cat in the corner is from So Sweet Sidekicks on Instagram. She was nice enough to gift that to me. I have some tassels I made for Christmas and just for fun. These adorable knee huggers are from I Like Cute Stuff and I Cannot Lie. My friend Lynn, she gifted me this one on the right for Valentine's Day, and then I had her custom make the one on the left with my favorite vintage sheet pattern. This tiny house, I love collecting tiny houses. The one on the left is really broken right now, but I dig it. I keep all my notions in jars. I collect so many jars, it's embarrassing. And this shelf has some more notions. I have a basket dedicated to some of the journals I've made that I haven't sold and kept for myself, or some that friends have made for me. And just some things that I like to look at. Lots of, this jar is actually filled with some of the goodies I've brought back from Paris, the Paris flea market. So I like to keep that in a jar to look at. I'll probably hoard that for the rest of my life. It was so expensive. A basket full of vintage wallpaper, seam binding, more seam binding, my glitter carousel, my chunky yarns, my glitter buffet, my Thomas Thumb children's typewriter that I spray painted pink. That was another marketplace find. And then some paper bingo cards and index cards that I like to alter, and a delicious platter full of vintage buttons. And then just some more notions of things that were recently sent to me. Coming down from this hutch, from all my goodies, is this dresser at the bottom. And I keep different items in this dresser. This one holds some of my washi tapes. I use vintage satin lingerie holders and glass bowls. Some of these are from Michael's. Different things to keep things tidy. This one's not very tidy and organized, but it holds all of my cards and vintage paper ephemera that I've found at the flea market recently. And then this one's the bigger one, and it holds all of my vintage papers from different books and different workbooks and kids books. Here's some more paper. I have loads and loads and loads of paper. I still need to reorganize this one. This is an IKEA paper shelf. It's not that great for 12 by 12, but it can be manageable to work with. On this side, I have all of my jewelry making items and beads, rhinestones, tools for jewelry making. I have them organized in little tins, platters. Here's some of my enamel flowers that I've been collecting for a while. And it's really deep. It goes back. It was a really nice find to find on Marketplace for very little money. In this corner, I have a shelf, another wicker shelf that I found in the garbage. I'm pretty sure I found that one in the garbage. And I just spray painted that pink, and it holds all of my vintage pillowcases. On top are just things I like to look at, also things that I've kept and held on to. This shelf was also found in the garbage. I painted it pink, and then I just store some of my mercantile goods for my shop in this area. I recently just came in contact with this basket from the bins, and I just put my bolts of things that I keep there. Some things I've ordered recently, a button card from France, just things I like to look through. Pyrex dishes are great to organize stuff. Here's some things I'm working on for fall, just at eye level so I can see them. My golden book storage, and that house I recently got at the flea market was an awesome find for $1. And then just some hankies and seam binding and other things. That's very much it for this side of my craft room. If we transfer over to this corner, I have another identical hutch. The same lady I purchased from. Both of these together were $20. I debated on having another one because I was really scared to have it look too cluttered in here, but I think honestly it opens it up and gives me way more storage. I have the bottom two decorated for holiday crafting for Halloween. This paper system right here was a recent yard sale find, and I actually just decoupaged vintage, my favorite vintage sheet on it, and I just keep work that I'm working on at the current moment. And down here is a drawer system I haven't organized yet, but for the most part it'll probably house like holiday crafting. Right now Christmas is set in there, and some die cuts. It's just a random junk haul mess right now. The bottom systems, both of these actually still need to be painted, but I was so lazy, and these need new drawer handles. I kept them actually open so it would be easier to open to show you guys what's inside. This one I have embroidery thread. I keep in that one. This one is a longer one. And I have my Halloween paper right here, but underneath is all my glitters, my extra sequins, and everything that I cannot fit on my hutch. And then this one is washi tape. The other ones are just random things, so I won't really bore you with that. I will show you my Halloween display crafting stuff at the moment. I'm very proud of how it turned out. And this garland I made, it has some of the spookiest pictures I have. I recently went to the Highway 127 yard sale, and I found these pictures in a lot as a funeral. Another part of the funeral. This one's actually a train crash. Very spooky. This one has a old lady, but her face is blurry, so I think that's so creepy to me. It looks so normal, but then when you realize it, it's not. I keep my vintage cards in these boxes. I love these boxes. A friend of mine, Jenny Mae June, she was so gracious enough to pass on her card boxes that she no longer wanted, so I keep those displayed all the time. I have my feed sacks that I absolutely adore, that I have smaller remnants of in here, and I keep those on display. I love those. Here are some more jars and more notions that I keep on this shelf, and there's actually still enough room to add more. Embarrassingly enough. I have some of my favorite things. This banner was recently made by Simple October. I love her page on Instagram. She very much knew exactly what I was looking for with this banner, and I proudly hang it up. Right now in my drawers I have this one has embroidery floss and thread. This one has all my glitter and sequins and stuff that I like to keep hidden away. This one has washi tape inside, and it's double stacked with vintage Tupperware organizers, and the bottom one's actually the container you get macaroons in from Costco. So if you ever get the macaroons around Valentine's Day. Save your containers. These are like super hard to open without drawer pulls, but this one has all of my vintage cards and coasters. And this one has all of my party tablecloths, napkins, some streamers by Party Goods by Emma, more of my streamers, more napkins. I just keep those tucked in here for decoupaging later. This drawer just has some more notions and stuff that I have extras of, extra bags, extra things I've been working on, extra paper clips. And then this one has more party goods, and these are some projects that I'm working on, and those are just tucked away in this drawer. Additional storage that I have up here, I keep like wood items up there to upcycle, and things that I don't normally use very often are up there. And then on this side, I keep my jewelry boxes, but on the bottom shelf I have vintage hat boxes that also have loads of different organization and things in that I don't normally use very often. Those are really good ways to store things, as well as using vintage jewelry boxes to house some of your goodies. In this corner, I have a gallery wall of things that my friends have made me, or things that I like to look at all the time. I made this bulletin board, string art board thing. I don't know what to call it. But I just put things that I've made, or cards that I like to look at, or stickers from friends on here. I keep most of my cards in this corner, in this wooden thing that I spray painted. And I keep my Cricut on this little platform, this vintage lap desk. That was another marketplace find. This corner has a jar of birthday candles and some more notions that haven't been opened, and some string. This cabinet was another marketplace find, the most expensive one that I have picked up, but it holds all of my hankies that I want to work with, and I put those in here ready to use. And then this side, I have my Cricut vinyl. Down here, I have more vintage notions. I'm actually too embarrassed to let you know how many I actually own. This isn't even half of it. And the other side is just as full. So embarrassing. And here I have this shoe carousel I recently found at Goodwill. And I made bolts for all my fabric on rolls because I was so tired of the system I had before that. And this actually like spins around so you can actually see what you have. I will do the same thing with those on top, but I need to make more bolts. This system is from IKEA, and I decoupaged my favorite sheets on the fronts of them. I think that turned out really awesome. It adds like a pop of color and vintage to my room, and I absolutely adore it. I love the system too. It keeps everything organized within hand's reach. Everything has its own little drawer. There's some newer ephemera, some tools for quilting and flower looms, stamps, and this one has doilies and just goes on and on and on. There's so much you can fit in these things. Tape. This one dress patterns that I use to wrap up my goodies for my shop, and then vintage ephemera, and the bottom one is punches. I recently found this carousel at an antique mall. I was super excited about this. It holds all of my stamps on there. This, what was this? I think this was an office paper holder I spray painted coral. It holds all of my paper trimmers on there. This is where I film occasionally. It's the most sunny spot in the room. This table was found on Facebook Marketplace for $20, and the chair was from an estate sale this summer. I absolutely love it. I have my filming equipment set up there. This is a cart from, I think I got this at Michael's. It might have been IKEA. I just keep all my glues, glue sticks, cutting mat, everything that I use on a daily in this area. Mixed media, art supplies, some actual stuff that I've been working on drawing. And down here I keep these containers from the Dollar Tree. I wish I would have bought more. They come out during back to school, and they are awesome to put projects in that you're working on. This is some homemade dies I made with Crayola markers stored. Thank you guys so much for joining in on my tour. I had so much fun. I'm so sorry it took so long to finally get to you to show you off my creative space. I hope you enjoyed this thoroughly. I would love to hear from you if you have any questions or any feedback. Let me know in the comments below, and if you'd like to follow along for more crafty ideals and thrifted finds, follow me on Instagram at russie.jane. Thank you so much for following along, and I'll talk with you guys later.